Lisa Copeland, and I want to invite you to my show, The Big Sell. Are you ready to stop being a small player in a big world? Are you ready to decommoditize your business? Are you ready to stand aside from the competition? Join me every week on The Big Sell. Hi, everybody. It's Lisa Copeland, and welcome to Big Sellers, the art of making money. And as I promised everybody, I'm only going to bring absolute rock stars onto this show. I don't want to waste anybody's time. Like, we're all about selling big. We're all about what are the tips? How do we get ahead? I mean, think about last week's show. Who do we have on last week's show? Ali Rita. He broke the world sales record. He's up to be in the Guinness Book of World Records. He's applied, and as long as they verify everything, he's going to be a Guinness Book of World Record holder. It's been great because today Automotive News put him in Automotive News, but he was on my show last week. But you know what? I'm going to keep bringing you the rock stars because today I've got David Cribbs, very good friend of mine. He's an Amazon best-selling author. He is the host of a very renowned real estate show, Under Contract. In fact, he came to Austin, Texas, and I did his show with a few rock star realtor friends. He's the co-host of Auto Dealer Live, which is where I met him probably 6 or 7 years ago, where he and his partner in crime, I like to call Mr. David Villa, they had me on the show. I can't tell you how many times and how they supported my career, and it's just such an honor. But I am so proud of David. I flew to Tampa a couple of months ago, probably a month or two ago, and I spoke at one of his events. He's an absolute icon in the real estate industry. He is taking it by storm. He's reverse engineering the real estate industry. How do you take an industry that has been doing the same thing over and over again and turn it on its ear? And that's what we're going to talk about today. When David was in the automotive industry, he held every position in the front end of the dealership. So there's nothing about David that is not successful and not amazing. And his first year in real estate, he was named Rookie Salesperson of the Year with a builder that is in 5 states, a very, very large home builder. So without further ado, I want to introduce to you my good friend and my guest, Mr. David Cribbs.
Well, thank you, Lisa. Thank you. I'm sitting here listening to you and I was like, wow, that sounds really cool. But I can't believe some of those things myself, but so excited to be here, especially so early on. I mean, it's your second show. You just had the Guinness Book of World Records breaker in the auto sales. So what a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for taking the time because I know you're a busy guy. Good grief.
Couple things going on.
Well, so I want to ask you a few questions. I want to take you back because I know a lot of people who are watching this today know you from the automotive industry. They've been on the Auto Dealer Live show. I mean, you and David absolutely have the show to be a guest on in the automotive industry. And so now I know a lot of people are going, well, wait a minute. I thought he was like the Auto Dealer Live guy. I thought he was in the car business. What's all this real estate stuff? So tell me, why did you make the jump from automotive to real estate?
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. So, about 5 years ago, I joined Auto Dealer Live and David Villa. And we were working on an online training platform for dealerships that David could add to his product that he sells to dealers, advertising and direct mail programs and things like that. And so once we kind of got to a place where my position had matured and the job description was going to begin to change a little bit. So, I kind of took a step back and Dave and I, talked about it. And I decided to make a change. I wasn't sure the day that I left where I was actually going to wind up. And I really had always had this idea that I thought I would have done really well in real estate. And I had, like you had mentioned, I had done everything in the front end of the dealership. So my choices at that point were, do I go full blast and try to do my own training career and compete with some of these other big people in the auto industry? Or do I look for a dealership that I can maybe come in and kind of take over and do some things there? I thought about that. And then the third option for me to stay in the auto business was, I got a lot of offers from vendors to join and, do things with dealerships, but I really didn't want to travel. I wasn't prepared. I'm getting older, so I wasn't sure I wanted to get married to a dealership again and live there. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to give this real estate thing a shot because I really think I could do it. And if I could do it, if I could pull it off, if I could come in with a bang, then what it would show is that sales principles that I've been teaching and training work no matter what you're selling, right? So that was really my motivation.
And did you come in with a bang or what?
I came in with a pretty good bang. You know, what's crazy is, you know, as I was going through that first year and successfully, I really was beating myself up the whole time because I was thinking, man, I'm really not doing as much as I could be doing. I really need to be doing more. So I started kind of bringing things to the builders in the building world and saying, hey, do this, that, we'll do this, we'll do that, right? I'm used to, because I'm used to having more input also in what we were doing. So I kept getting shot down like an Iraqi aircraft. And finally, you know, that kind of motivated me to say, well, I want to go beyond this. And so that's when I sort of made the transition. It was actually about 6 or 7 months ago. I had been with the builder a year and a half. And so I decided to transition into general real estate so that I could.
Whoa. Let me ask you this. Were you afraid that you were going to lose your title as Rookie of the Year as the #1 salesperson? Is that why you quit?
No. I just felt restricted. I felt like I'm only going to be able to do so much. And there was nothing wrong with the builder. It's just, I think that I kind of took them a little bit by surprise in the sense that, like, why aren't you satisfied with, you know, just doing what you're doing? Because like we don't have time for all these other things. We're building homes, and, you know, they had a bigger picture. And you know, great builder, great company. I just, you know, wanted to kind of break free and do some more things.
You know, and I love that you said that, because whether it's a home builder or it's an auto dealer or anybody in between, there seems to be such a lack of imagination when it comes to, you know, the big corporate structures. You know, I struggled with that during my time. I'd say, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. And they're like, hey, just keep your head down and sell cars, right? You know, we don't want to go too far off the path. And so I think for people like you and me who are truly entrepreneurs to our very soul, and we're always trying to re-engineer it, we're always trying to figure out a better way to skin the cat. And I know you were watching the show last week with Ali, and, you know, and I said, oh my gosh, for you to be the world record holder, I bet you had to work bell to bell, 6 days a week, 7 days a week. And he said, no, Lisa, I worked Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, because he found the right way to do it. And I think that's what you've done within the real estate industry. And I want you to explain to everybody. So you're a licensed realtor, and so is your wife. And so, you know, you guys are selling homes, but I want you to tell people, I mean, it's so brilliant what you did. You know, you've now decided to be a resource and to train your competitors. And when I was in Tampa talking to the several hundred realtors that were sitting in the room at your event, you know, I said, you know, at the end of the day, this is so amazing, but just know this: the minute every one of you walk out the door, you're all competing for the same clients. And they were like, oh, yeah. And the whole time, you know, you are so forward thinking. You're so out there. You're out and you're training your competitors because you're not afraid.
Yeah, well, you know, the thing is that, you know, and you'll probably, if you don't know already, I do follow a lot of Grant Cardone's philosophies. I just love a lot of the quotes that I've heard from Grant and different things. And I only bring that up because I like to give people credit when I use their stuff. So one of the things that I heard him once say that really stuck with me was, there's no shortage of success, right? There's no shortage of success. That means that, and I truly, really do believe that. And I want everyone to be as successful as, I want the best for them. And I really do mean that. Like, I really want everyone to succeed. If everyone were succeeding, I doubt we would have the negativity that we hear all the time. So, but there is no shortage of success. So I can go up and share with my competitors what's going on. You know, maybe I would think differently if we were in a tiny town and there were only 2 ice cream shops and we were right next door to each other. I might not train the other ice cream shop. But when you're in a field where there's just incredibly, almost unlimited sources or resources, I don't think you have to worry about that.
Well, so just so everybody out there knows, you're in Tampa, Florida. So, and the market is very robust, just like it is here in Austin, Texas. But your generosity is unbelievable. So I stuck around long enough to talk to your colleagues and your competitors. I mean, forget the colleagues. These people are your competitors. I don't care if you guys work for the same company. And they said, he's such a breath of fresh air. It's so great to come together that a realtor himself would put this together, and you had top builders there, you had mortgage lenders, you had insurance companies, and I'm watching all of them, the vendors, your sponsors, vying for these realtors for their attention in their business. And at the end of the day, you just let it flow. And everybody walked away. They had the greatest comments and they learned so much. And now you're doing it in how many more cities in the next, I think, 60 days?
We're gonna go to 6 cities in the next 90 days. Yeah.
Wow. Now, are you going to stay in Florida, or are you going to try to go elsewhere?
We'll branch out beyond that eventually, probably next year. And Texas is one of my big targets.
Absolutely. You have lots of friends in Texas. You actually brought your show under contract here when you were rolling through town. You and David were here for Clio Bay Honda, right?
Subaru. Yep.
Yeah, Clio Bay stores up in Killeen. And yep. So you came and we did a show with Amber Barnett, and we got Renee Ward, who's an amazing woman also, and she just had a big event. I spoke at her event, and and she does the same thing that you do. So Jay Renee, if you're out there, hello, but she does the same thing you do. She believes in pouring into the realtor community, because the more excellent that you can be, because it really does get down to the consumer experience. Now, I do think consumers have a better view of realtors than they do car salesmen. At least I hope they do.
There's no question about it. In fact, I will tell you this, when I got into real estate, it's funny because when I got into real estate, I had this perception of realtors being such professional superstars. And so I thought they've got it all figured out. They're the best marketers. They're the best everything, right? Because I've been watching $1 Million Listing, right? So
right.
That's how it works, right? Everybody's going to be riding around in the back of an SUV, and their driver's going to be taking them around to make $1 billion deals, right? So that was my perception. And I was so intimidated by realtors when I first went to the builder. And what I figured out, though, has really been the opposite. Not that there's anything wrong with realtors. I love realtors, but it's almost like I took a step back in marketing and in time. The real estate industry is very dated, in my opinion, in their approach. We're just now beginning to see a little bit of disruption in the real estate industry. Car people, what I love about car people, and I think I brought this with me, is that we find solutions very fast, very fast. We're typically, we have to find solutions on the fly, right? So that's something that we're very good at. And I think having that perspective from another industry and coming into real estate has really, really helped me in this business.
Yeah, I think it has too. I mean, I think all of us that cut our teeth in the automotive industry, I train, Fortune 5s now, Fortune 1s, I go and I speak, and but so much of what I bring to them is I bring to them the grit, the tenacity of the automotive industry.
Yep.
The negotiation tactics, and they're like, oh my goodness, wow, you're really you would stay with the deal for that long, or you would follow up. I used to tell my people, you follow up with them until they either put a restraining order on you or they buy something.
Right, exactly.
That's what we do in the automotive industry, because we have to, because once somebody leaves the store, typically, we're not going to see them again. And so I think you bring such a great perspective to the real estate industry. And of course, I've got a ton of friends that are realtors, and I've got huge respect for the industry. I don't know if I told you this, but I spent about 10 years in the mortgage business, and we still own a mortgage company here in Austin, Texas, Austin Mortgage Associates. My husband's been running it now for 20 years. So I'm very attuned to what goes on in the real estate industry. And, so let's talk about what I think is one of the biggest problems in the real estate industry today. And we talked about it in Tampa, is client loyalty. Gosh, it's story after story. And, my husband's told me stories, and I remember stories from when I was in the mortgage business, and I would do a loan app, and then they would say, oh, by the way, I'm not going to work with Mary, the realtor, anymore, but you can still do my loan if you want to, because I don't want to go through all this paperwork again with someone else. I'm like, okay, right. Yay me. But just that lack of loyalty. And so what is your take on that?
Here's what I say, Lisa, and I know that some realtors, I got to kind of do this a little bit delicately, but I think when it comes to loyalty in the real estate business, shame on us. Shame on us. One of the things that I will share just real quickly, the statistics of realtors that make it in the business are very similar statistics to the auto industry. 80% of the realtors in the first year won't be here. So that's part of the issue. But beyond that, I think that right now real estate is easy, in my opinion, meaning that we know the market is booming. There's lots of buyers out there, especially here in the Tampa Bay area and in Austin. So, and we've seen in the car business the last few years that we were back in the heyday, right? We're breaking records again. And what happens is the clients become, even though we value our clients, they kind of become a little bit less valuable because they become somewhat replaceable. So if I think that a shortage of clients, realtors would begin to appreciate them a little bit more, and they would do things that whatever it took, right? Whatever it takes, they would do things to keep that loyalty. I think, and this is something that I think that is part of maturing as a salesperson, is understanding that everything is your fault. And I mean that, like, everything is my fault. I really believe that. Like, if I go in and I talk to a client and they have a bad attitude and I don't get the listing, and I come out and I'm like, and they say, well, what happened at the listing appointment? Oh man, it was pointless. It was a waste of my time. That they had a bad attitude. No. I walk out and I say, look, I screwed that one up. I screwed that one up because I couldn't take someone with a bad attitude and turn them around. So I got to fix this, right? So that you've got to take responsibility. So that's one of, the sales tips. And I wanted to get into a few sales tips, just, raw sales tips, if I may.
Yeah, preach. I mean, come on. We have like so many people on here, and like lots of them that are friends of ours from the automotive industry and in the real estate industry. So that's what I promised. I would give them David Cribbs live and raw. So preach it. Let's go.
Thank you, because so often I'm on the shows and hosting the shows, and I really don't get a chance to get into a lot of this stuff. But I will say this, that I look back and I think about, well, what really, because people ask me, they're like, well, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing differently? All these things, and the bottom line is, it's funny because you had some boot camps, I believe, or some shows called Sold Out, and the truth is, the only reason for my success is that I'm sold on what I'm doing, but I get sold prior to whatever it is I'm going to do. So a lot of people get into sales and they say, you know what? I just love this opportunity, man. I think I'm going to give this a try. I'm going to try out this sales position. Well, my advice is never test drive a sales position. If you're going to try it, you're already way behind. You might succeed because a lot of us got in the business trying it out and became a success. But if you want to start and be a success, make the decision, right? There's another little thing from probably Grant or whoever, but success is more of a decision than a formula, right? I'm going to decide that this is what I'm going to do. Mm-hmm. So, and the best way and easiest way, because I also think that the things that I choose to do become very easy for me. Not that I don't meet resistance and that I close 100% of the deals. That's not reality, but the reason I can be consistently successful is because I'm totally sold out. And I mean, like, stupid sold out, right? Like, you're not gonna, like, this is the end and I'm going right there, right? And so, like, if I go see a movie tonight, right, and it's a blockbuster movie and I go see it and I'm like, holy crap, what a movie, right? I'm coming home and I'm going to tell my wife, if she wasn't there with me, honey, you're not going to believe this. No, you don't understand. This movie, I'm telling you, it went here, it went there, it went everywhere. You're going tomorrow night. You got to see this movie, right? So we get more excited about a $12 movie than we do a $10,000 commission, by the way. Now, scratch your head on that one. So it really infuriates me when I see someone that doesn't really see it or isn't really sold on it, right? So the first thing I would say is you've got to be sold out. In fact, again, sort of a Grant thing, but you are
giving Cardone way too much love on this show. He probably has somebody watching it. Either that or he's still trying to fly the jet home from Vegas from 10X. Come on.
Right. So one of the things, again, that stuck with me with Grant was I've heard him say, it's unethical to sell if you're not sold, right? So I really, truly do believe that. I believe 1,000,000%. Like, if you're not sold out to the point where you're dragging someone to the movie, it's unethical to even talk about it. So that's the way I feel about the product I'm selling or the service I'm selling. So once I get sold out, I already have a stupid huge advantage over everybody, right? That puts me in like so far ahead, just that one thing. So that's one of the things I would say. The other thing, I think that if you're going to go into sales or if you're going to be in sales, you need to define what a salesperson is. And there's a sales definition that I adopted so many years ago when I first got in this business. And that is, a salesperson is a person who can lead. Yes, I said lead, not coerce, not, wrangle in, whatever the case may be, but and not someone who can just facilitate, but someone who can lead a person to a weighted decision in their favor. Whose favor? Not the salesperson, the client's favor. You want to lead them to a weighted decision in their favor. If I lead you, and the reason I say lead is because, Lisa, if I have a product that you haven't really fully discovered, then you don't know where to go to fully discover that. You might know the first steps. Okay, I'm going to walk into the dealership. Okay, I'm going to go see this Camry because I want to compare the Camry with the Accord. Well, my goal, and you tell me that up front, right? My goal is that you never lay your eyes on the Accord. There's no reason for you to lay your eyes on the Accord. I'm not interested in the Accord. Why would you be? And the reason I'm not interested is because, and you have to do this obviously in a way, in an artful way. But the one thing I like to do is, instead of showing my clients anything, I never show my clients anything and I never tell them anything. I always share with them. I want to share with you what makes this car different than the other one down the street. At the end of this, you get to make the decision. That's the good news. I'm not even going to ask you to buy the car from me. I won't even ask. But you get to make the decision. Today, all I want is the opportunity to share with you what it is that we have. And if you are going to make a decision between this car and this car, I would say you owe it to yourself to at least allow me to share this with you, right? I want to be shared with. I don't want to be told, and I don't want to be shown, and I don't want to be sold. But if you want to share something with me, I love sharing. So that's one word that changed my career.
So share versus sell. So the one of the many big ideas we're going to get is that you're going to share it versus sell it.
Right, and you're going to share versus tell, and you're going to share versus show, all those things. So so that's the one thing. But so defining what a salesperson is, someone that can lead a person to a weighted decision in their favor, allows you to lead without having to control the person. You're leading them through something that's natural. You're going to take them to that step, the next one, and the next one. And then at the end of those steps, because you did it so artfully and so gracefully, then they're going to feel like a moron because not, let me back up. I probably shouldn't use that description, but the point is that there's going to be so much evidence that they're going to be like, I probably don't even need to look at the other car, right? They come to that conclusion 9 times out of 10. And the times that you don't, there's other ways to handle that. But so that's my first thing, is define what a salesperson is. Make sure you're willing to commit to that definition. The next thing is get sold out before you even begin to sell. Get sold out. And if you need help with that, you can get help from that. And the clue to get help from that is to go find someone who's sold out. Find someone who's sold out in the dealership and say, hey.
Yeah, because all my courses, I used to say, you have to be sold out for your clients to be bought in. How can anybody be bought into what you're doing, what you're selling, how you're doing it, if you're not sold out yourself? This is why I've always liked you. And you and I didn't even have a pre-conversation about this, but we are cut from the absolute cloth, same cloth. If I don't love it, I can't sell it.
Yep,
and
absolutely.
More importantly, I won't sell it. Not that I can't, but I won't. I would make a decision not to represent that product, that brand, or that service, because then I would be being inauthentic, and then I can't sell anything inauthentically. But I'm like you, man, if I like it, I'm sold out. I mean, you're going to buy it. You're going to buy it because you're going to see how much I love it, and I'm probably going to own one too, and I'm going to get you so excited about it. But that's how we do it. I think that's why we're successful, David.
I think exactly right. And the same thing goes with spending your money. I had a conversation earlier today. This is an actual conversation. I had someone that's very interested in sponsoring my show, which, by the way, I've picked up a number of sponsors, so I'm real happy about that. But I had someone that was interested in sponsoring my show today, and I'm on the phone with this this prospect, I'll call him. But they said, hey, here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to spend some money and sponsor your show, and I'd like to give it a try for a few months and see where we're at. I said, I'm sorry. I love that you're interested. I think it's exciting. I'm so excited to do other things with you. But as far as the show goes, I wouldn't be able to do that because I don't want any sponsor on my show that wants to try it out. I want a sponsor that's sold on where we're going and if I need time to share that with you and give you a better understanding of where it's going so that you know going in that you're already going to see returns like day one, right? So, and I'll share all that with you to get you there, but I definitely don't want anyone going into sponsorship of my show with the idea of they're going to try it out. So when you're spending money, it's the same thing. So a couple of other things I wanted to share with you because this is something that has served me very well in real estate and in car sales. You know, one of the and with my show and what I'm trying to do with builders and agents and education, I always prospect in the very same place, Lisa. And I'm going to share with your audience where that place is because it works in any industry and it's going to open incredible doors if you have an imagination and you can ask or answer 2 questions. Okay. So here's the deal. If you want to prospect and you want to reach, because I don't want to just prospect, I go beyond that. I want to prospect the client that's already interested in a product or has shown some interest in a product, but has not spoken to anyone about it yet. Now, everyone would like that, right?
Right.
So here's what you do. You ask yourself this question. And I do a training called shared custody. And you ask yourself this question. Who has my customer? And then the second question is, who needs my customer? Who has my customer? Who needs my customer? Now, I break it down a little further on a timeline. I break it down at the moment that I sell something. I want to know who has my customer prior to that. Once I sell that customer, I want to know who needs my customer now that I have. So I break it down on that timeline. Now, here's an example of how that will help either a real estate agent, a car salesperson, or whatever industry you're in, right? So with real estate, for example, I have to think about when a person starts to think about a home, what are they doing? Where's their first step before they think about a realtor, before they think about a builder to go to, anything? What are they doing, right? So
financing, maybe talking to banks,
banks,
mortgage companies, insurance companies.
Spot on.
Robbing a bank for the down payment.
Yep. You know, another thing would be just like third-party vendors, all that stuff, right? But another one, which really hits home with me, are schools. Right? Schools are very important to, especially first-time buyers and millennials right now who have kids, right? That are jumping in this market like crazy. Schools are important. So I know if I look around my town and I look at the A-rated schools, right? Now I know they're researching first, where are the good schools? Then they'll get to the communities that are available in that area and the houses, and then they'll start talking about maybe finding a realtor. So what I want to do is I want to get information on those schools out to the public in the form of either Facebook ads, YouTube videos, whatever the case may be. So now I'm capturing someone by giving them this school information where they're going first before they meet a realtor, right? The same with mortgage, you know, all the ones you mentioned. So it's the same reason that we mine our service departments and dealerships, right? You're trying to catch the person prior to them getting in the market or pulling them into the market, getting their attention, things like that. So, so that would be, you know, one tip. And then who needs my customer? Well, why do you need someone after the fact? Why do I need someone that needs my customer after I use them? Because now I can leverage every one of those people or businesses that need my customer on top of that. So let's just say, for example, that in the real estate business, and I'll give a car industry example as well, but in the real estate interest, what happens after you buy a home? Typically, you move into a new neighborhood, you buy your house, and the next thing you know, all these I just bought a house about 6 months ago. For the last 6 months on my door, almost every day when I come home, there's a door hanger. You know, how to keep your grass green. You know, the sod company, the painter, the handyman, every alarm company. You know, every service you can think of, right? Mm-hmm. So that means they need me, right? They need home buyers, new home buyers. So as a realtor, I have people that just bought homes. They're my clients. Now I know all these other businesses that need them. So now I go to these other businesses. It's called leveraging, but that's how I fill a room full of sponsors. But you can apply it to anything. You can apply it to anything you're selling, and you can partner with those companies. So now here's an example in the car business, and I'll use a person, by the way, Kenny Landrum. Kenny Landrum partners with the Chick-fil-A, the local Chick-fil-A store, and he gives out.
And why don't we tell everyone who Kenny is? Kenny's a rock star. Kenny sells a bunch of cars.
Yes, he's at a Toyota store in Kentucky, Bowling Green, Kentucky, and he's a social media and community person. He does a lot of community projects, but I would encourage anyone in sales to think about who has your customer before you see them and who needs your customer after you see them, and you can create so many partnerships that leverage and just benefit each other. So that's one of my tips. The other tip I'm going to give right now is I'm going to share something that goes through my mind and something that helps me on every single sales call, because I believe in a lot of cold calls, contacting people, making appointments, whether it's in person. We have a lot of people watching, I'm sure, like David Villa's team, that they cold call all day. They're cold calling dealerships, right? So the tip that I would give anyone, and kind of a mindset thing, is you have to understand that if someone is willing to meet you, if they're willing to meet, whether that be on a phone call conversation appointment, or they're coming into your product, or you're meeting them out at Starbucks or whatever, but if they're willing to meet, they're willing to buy. If they're willing to meet, they're willing to buy. And I'll even take that a step further. Not only are they willing to buy, they're rooting for you. They're rooting for you. And now, on the appearances, it may not seem that way at all, because let me just kind of run a scenario by you. I call up a builder that doesn't know me from Adam. I call up a builder and I go, hey, Mr. Builder, my name's Dave Cribbs. I do some things I work with a lot of realtors. I know that realtors are really your audience as well. As a new home builder, I had this experience, and what I found out really quickly was that realtors brought us a lot of business. I'm sure that you probably market to realtors. Is that correct? Yes, we do. We do a lot of things with realtors. Oh, okay. So of the new homes you're selling, is the realtors that are coming, is that about 50% of your business or higher? Oh, we do about 70% realtors. Great. Look, I have something to share with you, because I come from the builder world, and I know for a fact that we used to spend thousands of dollars to get in front of 30, 40, 50 realtors. I have a few ways where I can get you in front of those realtors, not only for free, but if you'd like to get in front of hundreds or thousands for a lot less than you're spending to get in front of those 30, I'll be happy to share what I do with you. Right? So now I make the appointment, right? I go see the builder who doesn't know me from Adam. Now, if someone else walks in the room and asks the builder, hey, did you just make a sales appointment? Is someone coming over here to sell you something? The builder's probably going to say, yeah, it's probably nothing. It's probably, I agreed. I'll meet with him. I'll look at it, but I'm pretty skeptical. I don't know. It's probably just going to be a waste of time, but I got to look at it, right? Maybe they're skeptical, but the truth is, if I'm that person in that same office, not the salesperson that called, but I'm the bystander, right? And I say to them, well, let me ask you this: if they come in on this appointment and what if they really do? Would you actually buy something? I mean, if they really could do all those things, and that person would absolutely say yes. That means that they not only would they buy it, they really want to buy something. They want something that would actually work, that would actually do that, right? So technically, they're rooting for you because they would like to have something refreshing that would actually help their business. And what I always share with someone like that, Lisa, is I always share, depending on their position, what that will not only do for their business, but for their employees. So, for example, if I walk in and I say, look, I'm going to put you in front of 200 realtors tomorrow, now, Mr. So-and-so, you know the benefits that you're going to receive from that, but let me also share with you what that's going to do for your team. Imagine coming to your team, sharing with them that you're going to have 200 realtors in front of them tomorrow, making personal relationships. Now, exactly. I don't know about you, but I'd pay just for the morale on that one. So the idea is that now you're creating pictures of what that's going to be like after the fact. And it's, so I'm sorry, I'm going to get into selling, but the point is that, look, everyone you meet with, if they're willing to meet, they're willing to buy, and not only are they really willing to buy, they're truly somewhere rooting for you.
Well, and I love that you say that, because I use the rooting for you. In fact, we wrote about it in our book, Crushing Mediocrity. You know, it's so important, you know, and who could not root for you? I see all kinds of people on here that I know that you don't know. And I guarantee you every one of them is rooting for you right now because of the passion that you've got for your industry. You know, and I want to get into selling, but then I don't want to get off before we talk about technology and my wonderful sponsor of this show, Quick Pages, which is probably one of the best technology I've ever seen. You know, to be able to send a little quick 30-second video to your customer, whether you're a car person or if you're, you know, in the real estate or your insurance business. Hey, thanks a lot for the meeting today. I'd love to follow up. You know, take a video, send it from your phone, text it to them. I mean, technology, it seems like, is also lagging with realtors and with car people. I mean, I see it. Like, it's like, why is everybody not on something like Quick Pages, or why is not everybody on, you know, Facebook and doing videos like you guys do? And Sean Hayes, our good friend out there, who's just all over it all the time. I mean, why? The world wants to know.
No, you know what? Here's the thing. You're spot on. You know, we are behind, all of us, as in both industries. In the real estate, I honestly see it even more. But I can share with you that I wrote an article. It's funny. I wrote an article for Dealer Solutions magazine about, gosh, it was probably 3 to 4 years ago. And I think that I got to go back and look at what I titled it. It might have been Pick Me. I'm not even sure. But the bottom line is, I talked about the fact that there will be a day soon, and this was 3-4 years ago, right? I said, there's going to be a day where a client doesn't drive in and wind up with a salesperson. They choose who their salesperson's going to be before they ever even go out of their home. So this is what you're getting into. This is what we're seeing with people like Sean Hayes and Elise Kephart and, you know, all these rock star people that have moved sales to a new place, right? They're becoming sales celebrities. And I want to buy my car, by the way, from Ali and no one else. And that's why I'll stand in line when there are 100 people waiting to buy a car from him.
Exactly. I would buy anything that Ali was selling. He is the most kind and humble. And he just kept saying, well, thank you for having me on the show. I'm like, well, thank you for breaking the world sales record, Ali.
Right.
You know, but that's like you. I mean, all the success that you've had, and you're just pouring into everybody and pouring into them. So as we kind of draw this thing to a close, I want your 3 top tips. And it doesn't matter if you're selling cars, you're selling insurance, financial services, mortgages, real estate. Because let's face it, everybody in the world is in sales. I don't care who you are. You're selling something. You might just be selling yourself. Yes. But what would be David Cribbs' top 3? Not up for negotiation tips to take your sales business to the next level, like starting tomorrow. Like, let's just get people in action tomorrow. Let's get them moving.
So much. So the first thing is, you really need to re-examine, are you truly sold out? Are you really sold out? And if you're not, then get back to that place, because I'll even
get a new job.
Correct. And here's an interesting way to get sold out. If you're not sold out, it's because of a reason. You know, if you're not sold out, it's because, you know, hey, our dealership is 12 miles off the beaten path and we don't get the traffic that they do over here. Okay. Or, hey, our internet department gets all the leads and then I don't get the leads, right? Or, you know, whatever that reason is, or my sales manager sucks because blah, 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 right? So I always share with people that whatever the handicap is, it's actually truly the best thing you have going for you. And here's why. Because now, if I'm a small dealership in a small town. Now what that means to me is that number one, I've got a captive audience. Okay, I can own my town. I can pull people from the big town my way. I just got to get creative to do it. We see guys like Lasco Ford, who have in a smaller town just killing it, right? We see guys
Matt
like
Lasco, yes.
Yeah, Matt Lasco. We see Matt and Jay. We see guys like Glenn Lundy, who is in I forget where he's at, but I'm not sure. But there are dealerships that are doing $800 900 units in a place where they shouldn't be. Fiat's in Texas, right? Fiat's in Texas in a brand new line in truck country, and you're number one in the world, Lisa Copeland. So the disadvantages can become the advantages very quickly, right? Because you got creative. You knew how to market that little Fiat. You took it out in the community, let them discover it. You gave them something cool and different. You put a fierce sales team together of mainly women, right? That were dynamic. So and you poured into them. So I would say that you got to get back to sold or sold out rather. And no matter what your handicap is, turn it around to make it your advantage. So that's number one tip. Okay. Number two tip is don't let those around you or even the industry define what tomorrow looks like. Don't let them define what it looks like.
Love that.
You do not, don't get me wrong, you don't want to leave proven methods, but what you do want to do is not let them trap you into not going into the future. So don't let, those things happen. I'm going to share with you, where I'm at in real estate, and we didn't get into some of the things, but here's the deal. When I was with the builder, and even today, when I share things with realtors and builders and people that I'm trying to get on board with my mission, right? They'll say, I'm saying, hey, I'm bridging the gap between realtor, builder. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. There's going to be a better education. Everyone's going to come together better. It's going to be, like Disney. We're all going to be singing Kumbaya in the showroom, right? Right. So, but the most common question I get is that, well, how do you propose to do that? How do you propose to do that? Well, if I'm not clear on that question doesn't really matter to me, right? Look, I can share with you all the ways I propose to do it if you really want to sit down and hear them. But the bottom line is, if you're thinking, how do you propose that? You're defeated. So I really want to talk to someone who, is more open-minded and thinking more progressively. So so what I would say is don't let the current situation define your tomorrow. So, and we have a million examples of that. Elise Kephart is a great example. She's redefining, the way things are done. You redefined it at Fiat. There's many, many examples. So that would be my second sort of thing. The other thing, and I don't know if it's a tip so much as it is a revelation that I had, but I will share this with you, whether it's the auto business, real estate, or any other business. The business is much bigger than you think it is, and the opportunities are greater than you think they are. In most people in the dealership world think that the only thing in the world in a dealership is, salesperson, inventory, BDC, finance, closer, new car, used car, GSM, GM, owner, right? That's not the auto business. That is a dealership, yes, but the auto business is not only much bigger than that. Who would have dreamed 5 years, 6 years, 8 years ago, as I'm sitting in a dealership, who would have thought that I would be, hosting a show that all the auto dealers in the country are watching, and true global companies like TrueCar are sponsoring us. And I have a microphone and a voice in this industry, and I'm writing articles and writing books and being on shows. And who would have ever dreamed that? I never knew that as a salesperson, right? And I'm not saying that everyone has to go down that path. What I am saying is, we know how fast things are changing, and the business is much bigger, and there will always be amazing opportunities in whatever business you're in. So start looking at all the things that you can do and reach your potential, right? That's the thing. I've been successful, but I've so far not yet been satisfied. And it's just because I don't think that I've arrived where I can go yet.
Well, I have a feeling after this show, Grant Cardone's going to chase you down and offer you, like, Jared's job, maybe, just because you're such a fan. But, and I used to tell, I tell people in the auto industry all the time. I was with a young man on Saturday night that he was at an event we were at, and he said, I'm the number one salesperson in my store, and I've got 4 units out for the month. And he was number one last year. And it's just, we all know in the car business, February is a tough month. And I said, you know what? I don't want you to worry about it. We're gonna sell 17 to 18 million cars in the United States of America in the year 2018. That's what the prediction says. And you have a very hot line. He represents Volvo, and Volvo's got some great products coming out. In fact, I named one of them the XC40 Best in Show in Chicago a couple weeks ago when I went and covered the Chicago Auto Show. And so, it's out there. It's a matter of perspective. And if you're a realtor out there, some things are happening on the economic front. Again, we're in the mortgage business. My husband is, and I rates are 4% or 5%, whatever number he said. It's a lot more than the 2 point whatever it was when I bought my house. Rates are on the rise. Inventories are limited. Multiple offers. Right. Do you quit, or do you just get your hands dirty and say, you know what, a no, to get a no, to me, is the start of a negotiation. So yes. See, I have to hear a no before I can ever start negotiating with somebody. Because if you're a person who's out there and you start like blah, 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 and the people want, but I just want to buy it. Yes, then you're not a good salesperson. So negotiation starts at no. So we all need a no to do what we do best, like, to go in there and make the magic happen, to get the deal done. And, so there are a lot of obstacles in the sales business. And I think the thing, David, that you and I agree on, and I want to say it to everybody watching the show and who will watch it in 10 days from now or whatever. And I think Ali would agree too. If you're not where you love, if you don't believe in your product, if you don't believe in your company, if you don't believe in your leader, whatever it may be, leave. Really, I don't know that you can get that back. I really believed in that fiat. I really believed, in the car, but more so, I believed in the opportunity to revolutionize the auto industry. And, to be able to sell cars out of a shopping center, and, gas was $5 a gallon. We had a lot of good things going for us, and we had a lot of things going against us. So we chose just to think about the good stuff. Gas was $5 a gallon. That's all we would talk about. I didn't talk about the fact that, the SUVs and the trucks, it doesn't matter, because I was bought in on the car and the opportunity. But I feel like, and I know you agree, that if you cannot be that person, if you cannot be bought in, to the company you're working, whatever it is, you need to go, because I don't know that anything will ever do that. And I think that's what ruins great salespeople's attitudes. And I'm not saying that, to me, the great ones are going to make it happen wherever, but I think the great ones know where to go. They land and they stay because they believe. I think it's the ones that are helter-skelter, David, that, that jump around between real estate brokerages, insurance companies, car dealerships. It's like, oh, I had a bad month, I'm out of here. And it's like, okay, you know what? It's two things. Either you don't do, you're not doing what you love. You don't love who you do it with. You don't love your product, or you don't love yourself, right? Because sales is it's a journey, and it is not a marathon. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And that's what makes the great ones. So, and then real quick, I want to hit on technology. It looks like we still have a lot of people listening. Technology, let's talk about Facebook Live and things like that. I see, absolutely. In fact, I think somebody at your event talked about it. I spoke at another real estate event here recently, and they had a social media expert out there, car people. Sean Hayes is just such a great example. It's getting out there, and it's getting a camera, and it's just talking and showing people, because we live in an on-demand society. And I might see something on Facebook or on Instagram, and you might be a realtor, or you might show me a car. In fact, I just saw a car on Instagram, a friend of mine at a dealership, and she had put it up in a video, and I called her. I'm like, yeah, I'll be down tomorrow to see that car. I want it. At least I think I want it. We'll see. Right. Anyways, but giving people access. We have the ability to give people access. Like if you're out, like if you were walking a new home, or if you were walking a house and you loved it, if the house is for sale, why not take a video of it and go, oh my God, I am walking through the most magnificent house. This thing's only like $140 a square foot. Someone needs to buy this thing. That's what it takes. That's what it takes to be great, and it's going the extra mile. And the great part now about marketing, in my personal opinion, especially, I used to spend 6 figures a month. I'll just leave it at that.
Right.
In advertising. And now I think so much of that can go away because people are not looking at traditional advertising channels anymore. They're on social media. Pick up your phone, take a video, talk to people, educate them. I love what you said about, talking about schools, versus being a specialist in a certain neighborhood. Be a specialist on education or on something that not everybody else is doing, right? Setting
Yes.
yourself aside from the competition.
Yeah, and here's the thing: it's never, ever been easier. You don't have to get the lucky break in order to be seen now, right? You can go on and have everyone at your disposal any second, just carrying your phone absolutely for free. It's amazing. And here's the best part of it: it's funny because I had a couple of realtors approach me just a couple of days ago, and this realtor said, look, I love what you're doing. I've made all these videos. I've got them. They're sitting there. I just won't release them because I don't know. I don't think they're good. I'm scared. I'm all this other stuff, right? I go, let's see the videos. Come on, pull them up. So she pulls up the videos and I go, first of all, let me just share something. First of all, they're amazing. They're amazing. Now she's just sitting in her office in front of her laptop saying something about, hey, what's stopping you from buying a new home, blah, 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 right? And I said, I'm going to give you a couple of tips. And I said, but I want you to know that number one, you look amazing in the video. So don't worry about that. And you're very articulate. Don't worry about that. And I said, I have a couple of things to share with you. And that's it. I said, I'm going to give you 2 tips. And I said, instead of asking what's stopping you from buying a home, because no one's going to reach out to you and say, oh, I saw your video and here's what's stopping me, right? They're not going to do that. I said, here's what you do. You pick the top 3 reasons you think that something is stopping people, whether it be they're not sure if they qualify, they're waiting to sell their home, whatever that excuse is. Pick your top 3 and then do the video and say, hey, I'm Susie with Remax, and here's what I'm seeing right now in the marketplace. I'm seeing that people are hesitant about buying homes for the following reasons. Number one, they're concerned about qualifying. And I totally get that. I would be the same way. Here's a solution for that, and start going through that. I said, and the only other thing is add text so that people, like a caption, so that people can read it if they're not able to have their phone on or their volume on. I said, other than that, that video is perfect. You need to release all of them right now. And I also shared with her, because I don't explain or don't tell, I share, right? So I also shared with her that, the good news is this, and I really do mean this, and it's fact. The good news is the more raw, the better. The more raw, the better. If you stumble over your words, don't retake it. My gosh, don't retake it. Share it. You just made more connections with the stumble than you would have had you done it perfectly. So don't let that stop you. Remember, we talked about the reason the handicap is what's stopping you. Make it your friend, right? Make it the advantage. And that really is an advantage with raw video.
Well, tell everybody out there, how can they connect with you? Do you have a website? I know you've got sales training.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Lisa. So
how do they buy what you're selling, my friend?
How can they drink the Kool-Aid? So here's the thing, and yeah, realtors better get on board. I'm gonna make a quick prediction here real quick also. I believe in 10 years, this game is over with real estate the way that we know it. First of all, technology is moving very fast. But if there's one thing we know about technology, it's not only moving fast, it's moving exponentially fast. So what that means is whatever we've done in the last 50 years, technology-wise, we'll do that in the next 10. So think about where we were 50 years ago and think about what that'll look like 10 years from now with 50 years of time lapse. So, it won't be the same game. So you better be getting it right now, especially because we are in the heyday again in real estate. So you better be getting it now, and you better be ready to evolve and get on the bandwagon with all these things and learn about technology and implement it, right? So that's one thing. The next thing, though, how to follow me. David Cribbs on Facebook here. You can follow me there. I do have a Facebook page. It's Under Contract Live. That's our show. And then undercontractlive.com is our website where you can see the Under Contract Live show. But one more really important thing is that up until now, the show's only a year old, but up until now, it has been interviews like this, but in a studio with top amazing people. Like a couple of weeks ago, Lisa, I had Tom Hopkins, number one
I saw that.
I mean, how do you get better guests than that? You know what I'm saying? Just like
Right.
Ali, number one in the world, right? So, so here's the thing. So far, it's been interviews, but we're making a shift because I finally found, after a year, I finally found a permanent co-host. And again, reach up, because never worry about someone outperforming you. I reached up. I'll be learning from Yoda, and he's amazing. But he was a number one broker in the state of Florida, Wall Street Journal top 50. He's a national sales trainer, been traveling the world, whatever. The bottom line is, instead of doing in-studio interviews, instead of talking about how to do business, we're currently filming us doing business. So now you're going to see us actually out doing business. And talk about taking video to the next level. That's the show. But beyond the show, what I'm personally going to do with video to kind of take it to the next step is, and it takes a lot. But anyway, the bottom line is, I want to start putting out videos of me doing business throughout the day, meeting with builders, getting builders to allow me to film our meetings together, getting builders to allow me to come in, film who they're interviewing for their spots, and promoting them in that way. But the bottom line is showing real stuff every single day. And you can do that with your cell phone. It's no big deal, but embrace video. I think I've probably way over talked, but those are the ways that you could connect with me.
Well, that is awesome. Now, do you have a subscription at all where they can sign up for a subscription to?
We're going to have, thank you for asking. I have missed the boat. I'm such a social media stupid person. Honestly, I'm not good at this stuff, which is crazy because everybody comes to me and they think I'm the social media guru. I'm not so much that. What I am is the person that will go out and get people's attention and get in front of people. That's what I'm good at. But the technical stuff I'm not so good at, and I've been way lacking in that. I've got someone coming in to revamp that and actually set up a subscription base. So that'll be coming shortly. You'll be able to find that, on my website, undercontractlive.com, or the Facebook page at Under Contract.
Well, we'll also put that, we'll go in and we'll edit the post and we'll put all of your contact information in there. And so, David, I want to thank you for taking an hour out of your precious day. I know you're a busy guy to jump on with me and do this show, but you did kind of owe me, because I've been on all of your shows probably like 20 times in the last 5 or 6 years. And I'm kidding, because you guys, again, you've been so good to me over the years, and I wish you continued success. I want to thank my show sponsor, Quick Pages. Everybody check out quickpages.com. If you want to get in the technology business, if you want to be able to attract more customers through video, you've got to check out my show sponsor at Quick Pages. I mean, people, the whole world is working in video nowadays. And if you want to take your sales game to the next level, that's what you're going to do. But David Cribbs, I love you. You're the best. I know we're going to have you on again. Are you going to come to Texas anytime soon and do another show Under Contract? Because we need to get that lined up.
Oh, I'm coming to Texas. In fact, we're putting together some a little Under Contract live tour. I'll make sure that you have all of that, and of course, you're going to play a role. So, and anything I can do for you, all you have to do is send me the date and the time, and I'll travel around the world wherever you want me to be. I'm there.
Oh, you're such a sweetheart. Hopefully, I don't know if you're going to be out at Digital Dealer. I know I'm going to be out there with your co-host on Auto Dealer Live. We're opening Keynote, several of us, and that's going to be super exciting.
I'm excited about that. I will be there, and I'll be there for a couple of days, and I'm sure I'll play some part.
Okay, well, I guess I'll buy the first margarita. You can buy the second one. Hey, thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to the Big Sell, The Art of Making Money. It's going to be every Monday, 4:30 Central Standard Time, 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. Great guest. I've got another hot shot next week, but I'm not going to tell you yet because I wouldn't want to take away from my fabulous guest, Mr. David Cribbs. All right, but thank you again, David. I appreciate you. And we're going to post the ways to get a hold of David and to get a hold of my show sponsor. And thank you again, everybody.